Welcome to the Lion's Den, a place you'll find men just talking. I'm your host, Renard. Going through prostate cancer recovery, it was very challenging. This was not an easy road. There was a lot of emotional ups and downs that I went through, a lot of anxiety, um, just trying to deal with and trying to get through. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, when I got that news from the doctor, it was so devastating. It was just, I don't know, words cannot explain the emotions or the heaviness that I felt when I was diagnosed. I was sitting there and I was dumbfounded, asking questions. Why me? What have I done to come here? I mean, I've been a general healthy person throughout my life. I didn't even have a tonsil removed until now. So I guess there's big things that happen in me. And, it's a hard road. You need family and friends to travel the journey with you. But here's the skinny. Here's the issue behind that. You don't want to tell anyone. You don't want anyone to know what you're going through. You don't want them to know the pain, so you're putting the best foot forward. You have children looking at you. You have your grandchildren. You have your children, looking to you and, seeing you as a pillar of strength. But now, you're not strong anymore. So now you still want to walk around. I still walked around trying to put on a happy face, put on, the power. I am still that strong pillar that I was. And inside I was crumbling. It was just taking me places that I didn't want to go. There were so many things that just came upon me. And then having to go. My mother and my sisters were in South Carolina. Having to go to South Carolina and telling them that. My younger sister, she's not as emotional as my older sister. I guess she has a tendency of holding things in. But my older sister, she can't hold anything. So it was immediately, it would seem to be hard for her, And my mom, she just sits there stoically, knowing that, internally, she's feeling it. She has a care for me. It was really an emotional time for me. It was a roller coaster, ups and downs, and mostly downs. Mostly downs. It was a hard time. But, I got through it. I got through it. And so could you. Whatever it is that you're going through, you can get through as well. It's messy. It's absolutely messy. It's hard. And you feel, although you have the support around you, you actually really feel that you're the only one. You're in it by yourself. You're in it by yourself. There's no one else facing any issues, so it's all you. You feel like you've been forsaken. But they always say that God doesn't put on you more than you can bear. But it did seem to be a heavy, heavy load. My granddaughter, who was very young at the time, she was always, around, and she would sit on my stomach when she was younger, and and we would just have a good time. And I could remember when I was in my recovery, catheter and all, because that's also a part of it, which is not a pretty sight, but it is a part of it, a part of going through your recovery from your prostatectomy. And so she sat there, and I'm watching television, and I could see her looking at me, peripherally, but I didn't look at her. I just kind of just sat there to see. So she's looking at me inquisitively, and I had a little pain, so I moved a little. So she got up and she went in and told her grandmother, he needs something. So I thought, and again, I'm here thinking that I'm alone in this thing. And then just look, I mean, she's a little old thing. I don't know. I guess she was around 6 years old, but she was looking. She wasn't just staring at me, because I looked weird to her or anything. She was staring at me out of concern, which kind of would touch my heart. It even touches my heart as I sit and think about it now. But again, this was not an easy road. And so this happened to me in 2017, and I just started. I was very introspective. I didn't want anyone to know anything. I was in and out of the hospital. I went in, they discharged me, and I had to go back. Of course, my mom came up, and my sisters, and my brother-in-law. They all came up from South Carolina to, look in on me, which I really appreciated. But again, I still was in this place. Why me? And I got discharged, but then I had to go back because I was in excruciating pain. If you guys have watched this, I've told you that, I was in excruciating pain. I had to go back. And my mother and my sister prayed. And once they prayed for me, that things started changing. Things got better, which was really, so God, again, they say God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. But, you don't feel that way. And then he always comes in and says, here I am, because they prayed for me. And shortly after that, when I was, the pain was coming on me again, a voice in my head said to breathe. The voice, there's no voices in your head. If you hear someone talking to you, that's God. So he said, breathe. And I breathed. So what happened, the reason why the pain was overtaking me was because of the fact that when I felt the pain coming on, I contracted, and which made the pain more severe. But if you relax and breathe, relax and breathe, my pain subsided. So each time after that, when I felt the pain coming on, I would relax and breathe. And if you've been following me, if you know, at the end of each of my episodes, I always say, this is a glorious day. Take a moment to breathe. Now is it coming back to you? Where everything that I've done that I'm talking about has a linkage. Now, these linkages just come about because I don't think of them. These are the things that I have been called to deliver to you guys. I am delivering message being obedient. That's why I'm delivering these messages. And I don't want you to just think that, I had prostate cancer and it's glorious. No. I had prostate cancer and it was devastating. Absolutely devastating. And out of that though, I never thought that I was going to leave here. I never got to the point where I thought about, that this may take me out. That was never a thought. But you know what happened? And I think all of this came in through those prayers. What happened was, now I got on a crusade. I am on a campaign to tell my story so that someone that hears my voice, wherever you are, would take action, and that action will result in a better life for you. There are things that I talk about. I say that those are all things that I've experienced. And I also brought in doctors in last season that gave you the science behind what happened. But if you listen, the things that I said are the things that they actually came back and told you guys the science behind what was being experienced. And hopefully those were things that was a call to action for you. Again, I want us to live long, happy lives where we can share with our partners. Open communication is the best thing. So if you can communicate, you, you're 90% there, because communication is key. That's where you can express yourself. You could tell, your doctor, your partner, your whoever, what you're going through, and you can articulate that. Also, in breathing, like if someone comes across you in an attacking manner, and where you may, respond quickly in an argumentative tone. Well, if you take a moment and you breathe before you respond, your response could be better, and you can diffuse whatever that situation is. So take time for yourself. Learn you. You are the most important equation in your life. You. If you can consider yourself the top of the pyramid, and everything below is a byproduct of you loving you. Because if you love you, and this is where you are, every branch, every line, everything going out from you will be successful. Or you could do it as a tree. And again, I said down, because if you think about a tree grows down before it grows up. A tree grows in both directions, up and down, the root and the tree itself. So before the tree starts growing, it grows in the ground, and then from the ground it pushes up. So you are that root. You grow in both directions, and you have to be that solid foundation. And the solid foundation is you. I keep coming back to you. I always talk about the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. I always talk about them, because that's who you have to be true to. And if you could be true to that person, you could be true to everyone else. We walk through life and we encounter all kinds of people. And I always told my son, don't let anyone change your mood. Don't let anyone change who you are. Be you. Be you. Because, if you think about being you and you're in a relationship, how many relationships that you were in that you weren't yourself, and you didn't feel healthy in that relationship because you weren't yourself. You sort of belittled yourself or brought yourself down so that you can coexist with this person that you felt was the person for you. But I say, if you are true to yourself and you come in truly as you, and that person's not the person for you, that person would leave before you get into a destructive relationship. So if you walk in that door as you, the people that are attracted to you will be attracted to you because you. And there's no errors. You don't have to be extra. You don't have to sort of forsake yourself for others. You don't have to. Because the yin and yang. You work together, and if you're true to yourself and the other person coming in is true to themselves, and you coexist, how beautiful is that? You may say that I live life with rose-colored glasses. I say no, I don't. But I think anyone that comes into my life should bring peace, not chaos. Should be a resting place, not a place where I have to put in effort. Now, don't misunderstand when I say putting in effort. I'm not saying that there's no effort there, but your relationship, your interactions are effortless, is what I'm saying. Because, everyone needs, and you don't have to forsake yourself to fulfill someone else's need. But you can work effortlessly together, and you guys, could be strong. Could be strong in your relationships, because I think relationships are very important. Just imagine if during the period I was going through my diagnosis for prostate cancer, my treatment, and my recovery, and I had no one. Do you know how lonely that road would be? So we need relationships. We need good, solid, strong relationships. We need honesty in our relationships. We do. We absolutely do. Each of us need each other. There's not one group, not one person that doesn't need someone else. We are designed to help one another, to be with one another, to communicate with one another. That is our goal. That is our charge. That is our existence. We must be true. You know, I can tell you that going through prostate cancer was a breeze. I could tell you that. I'd be lying to you and lying to myself. You know, and on a very personal note, sexually. You know, there was times that I wondered if life would ever resemble what it did prior to prostate cancer. There is a time, but you know, work gets you through. Your blood has to flow properly. Erectile dysfunction is not a byproduct of prostate cancer. It's not. And men that have fully intact prostates have erectile dysfunction problems. But those problems are from circulation, being sedentary, eating wrong things, clogging your arteries where your blood doesn't flow, you know, things like that. And then, of course, your mind. You know, your mind is another thing that kind of keeps you from moving or moves you. But you have to be strong in mind. You have to be in charge of your mind. Control your mind. You can control your mind. Give yourself self-affirmations. You know, self-affirmations. Look in the mirror. I'm the best. I can do it. God is always with me. Today is my day. I'm a winner. Yeah? Yes, you may laugh and say, oh, that sounds silly. But do it for a couple days. See how you feel. How you walk out of that area that you just cited that affirmation in. You know, do those things. You know, find what works for you and do it. In the earlier podcast, we talked about movement. Everyone can't move at the same rate. But if you begin moving, you will see progress. You may go out and walk, and you may live in the city. You may only be able to walk a block. You keep doing that. A few days later, you can walk a block and a half. You know, the next thing you know, you're walking miles. You're feeling free. You're energized. After you eat, you don't fall. You're not ready to fall asleep. You know, so you got to continue to move. And your diet, change your diet. No, the goal is to eat better, but gradually. You don't have to, you know, stop everything and then start this diet. You know, you're eating fried chicken and collard greens and mac and cheese one day, and the next day I'm going to be on a diet, and all you eat is salad. It's not going to work. That's a losing battle. But if you gradually do it, if you say substitute, say the mac and cheese, or you know, with healthy grain, substitute the fried chicken with maybe a baked chicken, or a smothered chicken, you know, whatever it is. But you know, find other ways to cook those things, and then you know, maybe you start with one day. Okay, I'm gonna eat my chicken and greens on 4 days out of the week. And then those other days you eat something else. But if that's all you've been eating and you change that, there's a change. Then gradually just move forward. Take your time. There's no rush. But you must control. You must be in control. And then get in touch with your spirit. I talk about God a lot. God is my answer. God is who I pray to. And that helps my spirit and my soul. That helps me. I hope it helps you as well. But that helps me. And as we age, things change. There's storms that come in our lives. Now, in an earlier episode, I talked about the way animals react in storms. Some animals run with the storm. But then I told you there was the buffalo. And what the buffalo does, he runs through the storm. Now, the animals that run with the storm, they're in the storm for a longer period of time. But if you run through that storm, you're not in the storm as long, and you get to greener pastures, fresher air sooner. Because what comes after a storm? Nice, clean, pristine air, grass, everything's clean. So you get to that clean side faster. So won't you use that as a barometer for your health? When that storm comes on, take it head on. Be active, be proactive, and keep moving. Those are the things that are going to help you. And also in aging, I saw something that talked about an eagle. Eagle lives for about 70 years. Around year 40, the eagle flies into seclusion. First thing it does, it knocks off his beak. It knocks that beak off, and then later another beak grows. Then it pulls out all of his tentacles, and I call them nails. It pulls them all, and they grow back. Then it plucks all of its feathers. Now, this eagle is going through pain, but pain of change. Plucks out all of its feather. The feathers grow back. These feathers are now lighter. This takes about, I think, maybe 150 days or so, and now they're better. They fly lighter. What's your beak? What are your tentacles? Your nails? What are your feathers? Knock your beak off. Pluck your tentacles. Pull your feathers. And live a cleaner, brighter, sleeker life. Shed the dead weight. Come back stronger. Come back stronger. Come back stronger. What a glorious day. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Also, if you don't take time for your wellness, you will be forced to take time for your illness. I'm Renard. Peace.